Okay, guys, this is Milos, December 1st, late at night, I don't even know, 11 o'clock. I worked all day and then I checked Neb's gear, asked me anything, and I see a few questions. So let me answer before I go to sleep. Oh, excuse my hair, guys. Anyway, here he goes. Milos, you're known for your famous carb loading principles for your competitors. My coach doesn't believe in carb loading and told me it is a huge risk he wouldn't want me to take. He said it doesn't make sense to do it. You always explain things in depth, and I would like to know, why would you take a risk of possibility of spilling over? It's very, very fair question, and I can associate with your coach, because there was many times when I trained the guys and prepared them for a contest, I tell them, okay, well, we're not going to take a risk. We're going to just go for the safe, secure principles, and then we go on the stage, ripped, ready, dry, and all that stuff. But whether I did risk many, many times in my life to accomplish something. So let's focus on what does it mean, carb loading. Is this really that you're loading carbs? No, you're using carbs in your diet for your energy, for your muscle contractions, and to store as a glycogen in a muscle and a liver. So glycogen would be stored. Okay, so it's stored every day to the certain point. You use it, you lose it, you replenish it, and this is how it goes. Now, real carb loading for me only makes sense if you're going to be able to supercompensate. What does that mean? So, supercompensation, put more that was previously there. That's the only reason why would anybody risk and do the glycogen supercompensation. So if you have a glycogen storage like this glass, you empty half, you put it back. So this is capacity of the glass and the water inside. Similar, it's a muscle, so you have a glycogen in a muscle. But when you go to extremes and go to zero, completely empty your glycogen, you're triggering alarm for your body. Oh, it's survival now mechanism. It's survival. What is survival? Zero glycogen, zero carbohydrate storage. And keep in mind, bodybuilders, especially at the time when they compete, they have very low body fat. So energy reserve from the fat is gone, and now energy reserve for carbohydrate is gone. It's alarm, oh my God. So now your body wants to store as much as possible and store more than is previously there. So supercompensation, so you're gonna have a more glycogen that your muscles are accustomed to. This is the only reason why we do this carb depletion, carb loading. I did it pretty much in every show that I ever competed, pretty much every show. And I pushed to the limits, and a couple of times maybe I kind of spilled over. And yes, with some of the guys that pushed the limits, I must admit I didn't nail it. But those were the guys that we were going for this something extra, so you have your muscle mass, you have your lean muscularity, and then you can just store the glycogen that is just there every day. Okay, you're gonna look like you do every day. But to create illusion, to be bigger than you actually are, which was always happening with me, that many times people see me off stage and say, Milos, you don't look as big as you did on stage. Exactamundo. I made myself look bigger on the stage. So examples, that I did this, back in the day, NASA somebody. You see him 94 Olympia, and then 95 Houston, the Night of Champions. Gustavo Badel, Dennis James, Dennis Wolf. Dennis Wolf is the best example, because what we did for that Olympia 2007 is crazy supercompensation. I just talked to Dennis and Jay Cutler actually about 2007. I told Jay, imagine how much carbs he needed to supercompensate. And then Dennis was actually saying that nobody would believe him when he was saying how much he was eating. But for example, me working with Dennis back in 2007, first show, New York Pro, you know, you guesstimate, okay, I'm going to deplete him and now I'm going to load him. And as I was loading him, I would give him over 1,000 grams of carbs a day, you know, thinking like 3,000 would fill him up, but, you know, he would fill up. And then 3 hours later, when I would look at him, he's not there. And then this is what was happening. And up until a couple of hours before prejudging, yeah, he was super loaded. He stepped on the stage, he was good. And then he placed third, he looked excellent. I had a Dennis Jam also in that show, and he was second, bench 4-1. But for me, I realized, oh my God, amount of carbs that would fill up anybody to the yin-yang wasn't enough for Dennis Wolf. So we did 4,000 for Keystone that he won, and then Olympia 2007. If you guys remember, at that time, Jay was reigning champion. There was Dexter, there was Victor Martinez, Ronnie, Melvin Anthony, Dennis James. There was like a huge lineup. And he was not really favored to be top 10. So he was like 16th year before. Going into the show, I said, okay, he has that structure. And he has a muscularity, not everybody does, that, okay, fuller look would, make him even dramatically more aesthetic, more V-tapered and cartoonish. So that's one of the examples, and he pushed to 5,000 grams of carbs. Okay, he's the only one that went so much. Yeah, I'm gonna correct myself. I did with a Chinese bodybuilder, Lu Chenghui also. He's one of those that you can just keep putting it in to expand. For me, right, is this a risk? Well, you can have a controlled risk. What I would suggest, if anybody competes, and you and your coach, maybe you should do the tryout run. So first you have to deplete. Normally, not too many guys are depleting with zero carbs. So my question to all of you is, if you don't go with zero carbs, obviously, you're gonna have some carbs, maybe for the workout. Yeah, it's okay, yeah. But if you want to make this dramatic depletion, you don't touch the carbs. You're going to deplete them much faster. So 2 or 3 days it would take to completely deplete. If you're lean, you're in caloric deficit 4 days, you're going to that last week of the show, 2 or 3 days. Let's leave 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. To deplete, you would normally do each muscle group. You start Monday with the legs, the rest. And then as soon as you finish that last workout on Wednesday, okay, now your body fat is gone, your glycogen is gone. Now everything that you're going to be taking energy-wise, and I suggest highly carbohydrate, not much fat, so I would dump all this carbohydrate straight back into the muscle. Now, some people are going to say, but you need some fat. Yeah, you can have some fats, but I would not go with the fat loading as some coaches that I know did. Now this is glycogen loading. Glycogen is glucose plus water. Glucose comes from carbohydrates. Initially, do not be afraid. Dump the simple carbs, because your body is just going to suck everything up. So you should have simple carbs immediately, because it's going to go right there, nail it. I mentioned this before, like Charles Poliquin used to do 200 grams of dextrose immediately after the workout to replenish the glycogen, right? He would trigger insulin release with so much glycemic load with the high glycemic index carbs, and he would just dump them in the muscle. So initially, right away, have some of your simple carbs. Interestingly enough, as research has shown, I don't read too much research because, it comes in one ear and comes in another. I make my own sense to it. some amino acids, it's more glycogen repletion if carbohydrate is mixed with protein and amino acids. So not just pure carbs. Some people would just take carbs. It's more efficient if you combine it. So now, of course, as you're going to be increasing your carbohydrate intake dramatically, you can reduce the protein intake. And as you remember, I said in previous videos how much protein I take. I take up to 4 grams per kilo. Now is the time that you want to store the glycogen, so have a glucose available. Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, you're going to be loading. Wednesday afternoon, Thursday and Friday, you're going to be loading. What do you need? You need glucose from carbohydrates. Okay, what else? Water. You need to take a lot of water. I know there are a lot of coaches that are restricting waters like the last couple of days. If I need to store that glycogen, 1 gram of glucose, 2.7 milliliters of water, bind it together and store it as a glycogen. So you need to store 500 grams of glucose. You need 500 times 3, 1.5 liters of water just for that. So you need water. What else do you need? Sodium for glucose transport. Again, there is a common practice, cut the sodium. Why? People think, sodium, cold water. Hypertension patients, you need to cut sodium. Sodium is essential, so important for bodybuilders, and I would do always high amount of salt all the way through, and then keep it. Now, when you're storing, you need it. Once you store that glucose into the muscle, then it's a different story. Now, the glucose is also holding water. You do want to be intracellularly hydrated. You want to be big and full. So this is a time that you are dumping in. So as your coach says, it doesn't make sense. I hope I'm trying to now start making sense. Okay, you deplete completely. You create alarmed state. Your body is now super compensating, putting that glucose back in. So now, of course, if you blow the balloon to the certain point and you try a little bit more, it does happen that you pop the balloon or you spill over. So this is that risk that maybe would be good to do the test run, like 2 weeks out of the show, you try to do that depletion load. Okay, at those days, most of you guys are cycling the carbs anyway, so you do some 3 days low, 1 high, whatever your coach is doing. So just do it a little bit more to extreme. So instead of just going low carbs, try to deplete your glycogen completely. It's going to get you leaner. It's going to accomplish something even in your prep, but then you're going to carb load, because I guarantee you, most of the people don't even know what is fully loaded muscle with glycogen. What happens to many of you, you do the cheat meal, you eat whatever, you eat 5,000 calories or more, whatever, and then some carbs, and then your body just refill it because you're so goddamn hungry and depleted. But I don't go with the cheat meals. For me, that's a nonsense. And maybe I'll talk separately about this. Again, it's cheat, whatever you're going to be taking, burgers and fries and God knows what, is this fry and hydrogenated oil or some stupid stuff, like whatever is there, going to store the glycogen? Glucose, carbohydrate needs to be stored as a glycogen. So, I don't understand. You want to store, $100 in American dollars, you store American dollars. You don't take euros or Australian dollars or something, right, and then convert. You need glucose, give body the glucose. So give the carbohydrate. Once the glycogen is there, once the water is there, now, you can try to dehydrate yourself extracellularly, right, subcutaneously. Now, when you're dehydrating yourself at the point when your glycogen is there, you understand, for that glycogen to be spent and emptied, you need energy expenditure. So energy expenditure means, okay, now body needs the calories, right? You don't have a body fat, you're not eating now anything, so it has to come from energy reserve. So once it's filled, keep it there, okay? You can now replace carbohydrates with fat and protein, right? So that fat is going to give you enough energy for whatever you're doing, because day before a show you shouldn't be really training or spending calories. You're just securing that your glycogen is there preserved until the morning of the show. So keep in mind, when you're dehydrating yourself, it's not like you're going to break down the glycogen, use the glucose, and then water is going to be released. So you're going to flatten out this way. No, if you have your caloric requirement and you know what it is, and you eat a little bit under, you can still maintain the majority of your glycogen. And if you do that test run 2 weeks out, you're going to see how far you can push it. And even if it's 2 weeks out and you spill over, okay, I went overboard. I know I can do that many. But if you're not filled up with a approximated carbohydrate that you envision, I need to eat so much carbs, and you're still flat, what does it tell you? You can push so much more. So this is what I was doing, because keep in mind, I'm working with elite bodybuilders. They're going on Olympia stage. Every little difference make a difference monetarily, right? Placing wise, prestige, fame. So when you're working with a elite group that makes a living, I mean, what is Olympia, first place, 400,000, these kind of things, at those points, would you take a risk? Yeah, it makes sense. Well, if it makes sense for that, why not Orange County Muscle Classic or whatever kind of competition, local show? Because you still want to be at your best, right? You want to maximize. I keep always saying, maximize everything. So if you are honest, if you're stepping on the stage, what do you want to do? Oh, you want to maximize your glycogen storage, right? So 5 things for the bodybuilding contest you want to accomplish. First, you want to lose all the body fat. You want to maintain all the muscle during a diet. Okay, that's all good. But then the last 3 is last week before a show. If you want to deplete and glycogen load, right? And put as much glycogen in, as much water inside the muscle, and then lose all the subcutaneous water. That's how you're going to step on the stage fully loaded. So I forgot exactly how he formulated the question. So let me just see it. There's something about, does it make sense? If I would explain why take a risk, I hope I explain it. This is why I would take a risk. I would try to create illusion over more size. I would tell you, I said 2007, Dennis Wolf. 2008, he was dramatically heavier. I think he said 12 pounds or something. Look at the pictures. He, compared 2007, 2008, he looked bigger 2007 because of that illusion. Bursting full, muscle, popping out, skin is tight, and you appear so much bigger. So I think that's that. Yeah. Second question. What is better to take, BCAAs or EAAs, and why? Okay, that's another thing probably you heard me in some of the interviews before, in podcasts and stuff like that. What is BCAA? What is EAA? Branch chain amino acids. Okay, good. Sounds good. Sexy. What does it mean? Well, those are isoleucine, leucine, valine 3 out of 8 or 9 essential amino acids. I don't know if somebody's gonna count histidine lately. Back in my time when I studied nutrition, there was no histidine. It was conditionally essential. There was 8 essential: isoleucine, leucine, valine, methionine, phenylalanine, threonine, tryptophan, and lysine. Okay, so the 9th one, histidine, became accepted lately, and okay, let's include him. But why is name essential? Okay. We don't have essential carbohydrates, right? Well, does it mean that carbohydrates are not important? No, no, no. It just means that your body cannot manufacture within, it cannot produce. Okay? So essential, your body can produce carbohydrates, okay? Well, your body cannot manufacture this 8 or 9 essential amino acids. And they're involved in protein synthesis of every tissue, organ, cells, enzymes, hormones. Everything is made out of amino acids. Bind it together. This is the structure of hair. This is a different structure of muscle, right? So essential amino acids, if they're missing out, you can't complete protein synthesis. You don't create the tissue that you want. So Bcaas were very, very popular back in the day, and I talk about this. And, spare muscle glycogen, so even those are the first and only things before there was considered intra-workout supplementation. So some people, advanced like Charles Poliquin, used to do the Bcaas, but what is going to do? Spare muscle glycogen. Yeah, I just talked about glycogen. Glycogen is glucose plus water bonded as a glycogen. So why would I want to save my carbohydrate with essential amino acids, with expensive amino acids, with building blocks of my muscle tissue? No. You need amino acids to build, not for energy. If you do some search, I'm sure you'll find on Google, your best friend. Oh, it's very efficient energy source. I would pull my hair. Energy source? Amino acids should not be energy, especially not expensive, bad tasting, but very valuable essential amino acids. So they were taken before inside the workout, right? And I did the Ajinomoto amino acids explanations, and I was talking, and once I mentioned it, which they didn't like, I said, no, you don't take Bcaas for a workout alone. You take them with some kind of glucose polymer, or any carbohydrates that's going to maintain the glucose level and not touch aminos to be converted into glucose and be sparing muscle glycogen. You want to use aminos to build muscle. You want to use glucose from the cheap dextrose or expensive polysaccharide that you're taking as energy. Aminos build muscle. Glucose, energy, muscle contractions. Now, what is better, EAAs or Bcaas? 3 incomplete EAAs, or 8 or 9 essential complete EAAs, right? Of course, you need complete. There is no comparison. So let's say your muscle needs to build that muscle tissue, muscle protein synthesis, and it has isoleucine, leucine, valine, okay, but doesn't have a methionine. It doesn't have a threonine, tryptophan. It doesn't have it. Well, how is it going to put it together if these are missing? There's not existent. It's not there. Okay, you can't complete protein synthesis, muscle protein synthesis in this instance. So EAAs, dramatically much better, okay? Yeah, Bcaas are great. I love them. I actually fortify my EAAs with extra Bcaas intra-workout. Do I need to know? I can have an EAA formula to have more isoleucine, leucine, valine, okay? But as I take standard EAAs during a training, I want a higher leucine, and I would fortify it and put like 10 and 10 or 15, 15. So no comparison. Anybody that is still questioning what is better, 2 arms or 1? For functioning, for everything, right? Is complete car engine or a partial? It's super, super easy to know the answer. Okay, one more. Do I have it? Yeah. Okay, come on. You know, when you forget your password. Okay. Another question, let's see. What is more stimulating for chest? Failing on 6 to 8 repetition on barbell bench press or the same amount of reps on a chest machine press? Oh, that's that question. What is better, free weights or machines? And then, of course, everybody, hard workers, hardcore, they can always study machines. I mean, free weights, go free weights, no machines. And that was going back in like 90s. I do remember in 1999. I don't know if you've seen Battle for the Olympia. In that videotape, actually, to prove my point, I mainly prepared on the machines. You know, because most of the people say, no, free weights, better stimulation. Now, this exact question, what if you fail on a 6 or 7, 8 repetitions benching, okay? Is your chest gonna get more stimulation from benching? You fail, you can't do another one, you rack it, okay? Now, is your chest maximally stimulated in comparison to machine that you do the same bench press movement, same groove, you know, same muscles, right? Well, machines are created to isolate primary mover, and it's called chest bench press. So mainly chest, right? When you stabilize that thing that you're pushing, right, machine, comparing to the free weight that your body has to stabilize, you're stabilizing muscles, right? So we know that there's, in every pretty much movement, you can isolate just one muscle. You're using primary and secondary movers, okay? So, and that opens another can of worms, like, which I'm gonna touch in a second, you know, I wanna say it. So now, to just focus on this one. When you fail on a 6, 8 reps on a machine that isolate more chest, less shoulders, less tricep, it's more than likely that you're gonna stimulate more chest failing in a machine, believe it or not, okay? Theoretically, you know, maybe it would make sense. But all of us that did free weight benches and free weight squats and free weight whatever, we know the power and value of that movement. And so be it. Your body and muscles work as a unison and you complete the movement, and your primary mover still does most of the work for most of the guys performing semi-correctly or correctly. Yeah. So I'm not against free weights. You know, as a matter of fact, I love it. I think there's dying breed, dying sport, dying. There's not so much free weights actually even in the gyms nowadays, especially when you go to these commercialized gyms. It's all machine. Is this wrong? No, but for some hardcore workouts, you do want free weights for sure. Machines, yeah, very good to isolate. I agree. Mind-muscle connection that I always am proponent of. Yeah, feel the muscle, squeeze the muscle, absolutely. But there's many coaches also that are so specific about specific position of shoulder blades and depress the retract, you know. Find yourself in a position, think of the scapula, think of the bone, humerus, think of this. No. When you do the exercise, think of the muscle, don't think of your bones, right? And I had some argument with one of the coaches. He was saying, oh yeah, this guy is doing incorrectly, but you know, the way he's doing it, he's not doing it just chest, he's doing a lot of shoulders. I say, hold on. You don't want to develop maybe chest and shoulders at the same time? I mean, by you including the shoulders in the chest move also and developing, stimulating shoulders also, is this actually bad? No, because now I just want to, you know, train my chest. I understand. Trust me, I've seen in the gym so many people that do everything catastrophically wrong and have a phenomenal physique. Okay, they maybe develop shoulders in the chest workout and chest in the shoulder workout, you know, doesn't matter. But I'm not so specific and strict, oh, it has to be isolated and perfectly straight. No. One part that I give freedom people, okay, what is natural way of lifting? If I give you this barbell or dumbbell or and tell you which move, okay, front raise or side laterals, whatever, what is your natural instinct? Okay, a lot of people are going to say it's wrong, but that's your natural instinct, okay, how you moved it. Then if I see that some things need to be correct, okay, connect the muscle, more side laterals, more chest, we're talking about chest. This is okay, but don't exclude the machines because it's not manly thing to do. Oh, hell yes. I don't care if you do machine or the free weight for chest. I would tell you, forget about barbell, forget about that grip that you have pushing. You only imagine you have chest and nothing else. You don't even have arms. Okay, so how you're gonna squeeze the chest, right? So let contraction of the chest move the bar. So think of contracting first, and that's gonna push your arms, okay? Some people would say that intention doesn't work. Yes, it works. You are concentrating on the muscle. And then, as I was saying that before also, there's different levels of contraction. I can squeeze a little, more, right? So maximal contraction is what you want to accomplish. There's the ways you can do the power move with contraction. Obviously, if you're doing super heavy bench presses, super heavy whatever exercise, your mind is just there to move that sucker, right? Push that weight. Okay. Or somebody's going to control down and then explode up. I've just seen Dorian Yates talking about this, like his little trick. He would have like, what do you call it, spring. Yeah, so think of a bench, like spring is like going down slowly and explode up. So he would, have that little trick to push concentrically, explosively. I was talking to Fuad Abiad in his podcast that I believe tremendously in changing the tempo, prolonging time under the tension in both eccentric and concentric. Try that via bodybuilders, building our body, muscularity, right? It's not breaking the world record. I know that a lot of people have those journals, oh, I did 1 pound more, 1 rep more, whatever. What does it matter? You are not going to lift weights on the stage. And for you, what is important? Are you going there to break the world record or to build your body? So it's about muscle stimulation. Basically, when you finish the set, you should feel that primary mover spent. Okay? Primary mover. But if you use secondary movers in that exercise, so be it. As long as your primary gets a lot of work. Okay, just to add a little bit more oil in the fire. As I had that argument with the coach, I don't want to say his name, but it's a famous coach. So if in improper way, using your chest and shoulders, you can push whatever, much more pounds, create more force, and use more chest while you're using the shoulders, okay? Incorrectly, or excluding this and using less other muscle, more chest, but you can't create that much force, what would be more beneficial for your primary mover, for your chest? So maybe I didn't explain myself. English is not my first language, exactly. So you know what I mean? If I'm pushing and using my chest dramatically much more, because now in this movement, I'm powerful, my shoulders are picking up maybe even the triceps, and I can move that, but I can load the bar, I can feel the weight, right? And I can push and contract with my chest, okay? If I exclude that, and I don't even have a more power in my chest because this is more proper, more isolating, does it mean it's better? No, of course. I let people decide, try this one, try that one. The way I showed you, it's proper way, but you don't feel it. Why do it? Your way, you're doing it, you're feeling it, you're developing, keep it that way. All right, I exceeded, it's supposed to be under 30 minutes and a little bit more. See you soon.